Hi, folks. Welcome to your World with Prakash Kapila. This week, we have a very interesting topic that we want to talk about. Of course, we'll talk about Sushant Singh Rajput. We'll talk about US elections, and we'll talk about China versus the world, and how is China finding itself into a peculiar situation. So let's start with the big item on the table, that is U.S. elections, and on the sideline, the Trump's illness of COVID. What happened with Trump? How did he get COVID? So Trump was actually going to a lot of mass meetings, and people did not have any masks during those meetings. And in due course of time, he has incurred this COVID, which is not unnatural. I mean, nobody is a Superman here, so we should all respect and be fearful of COVID. COVID did not become pandemic just like that. A lot of people got affected, and they got affected because they were not careful enough. So hopefully, from now on, everybody becomes careful. You need few important things. Put your mask where you don't know who the other person is, and maintain 6 feet of social distance, and always try to hydrate yourself and do exercise, and drink some hot water wherever you can, whenever you can. And also steaming yourself, that is having, say, steaming your nose, where the nose breathes the steam, would also help. So apart from that, your exercise helps immunity, and take some vitamin C tablets and zinc tablets if you have to, if you're not immune, and most importantly, vitamin D. So be on the sunlight for at least 1 hour a day. So that apart, I mean, the pandemic is now raging into millions every other country, US, India, you name it. It's going across. So we want you to be careful. We want you to be heeding the advice of doctors who say it's very simple to prevent COVID. It has got single point of failure, which is your nose, mouth, eyes. So these are the three parts that you have to be very careful about: the mouth, nose, and the eyes. If you if you prevent them from inhaling any of those COVID virus, then you're safe. So keep your hands safe, wash them on regular basis, take the medicines. Vitamin D is most important. Increase your immunity, uh, and then stay 6 feet away from anybody you don't who don't stay with you. Okay, even if it is your parents who are coming from outside, just don't go near them. Maintain 6 feet distance. Okay, having said that, now the US elections, the last week, as I rightly said, the first debate happened, and uh, Trump and Biden were more or less fighting with each other, except that they didn't do any fist fight. So apart from the fist fight, it was each one was trying to um, outdo the other, and put them into a spot. So for a brief period, Trump was able to put Biden on spot with his son's death, and Biden was rattled. He couldn't mention on a clear-cut basis. This happens with everybody, but Biden was smart. He stayed his ground. He did not get overly excited. He did not get rattled by Trump. He had a message. He was always saying, be focused, focus, and talking to the audience. So that is one thing that came out from the debate as a smart move. The other smart move that Biden did was not to digress from the subjects and keep on track. of the subjects. And even though his examples were like little snoozy, people got the examples were too long. They were not related to the topic that he was discussing, not directly related. It was like a roundabout kind of thing. Whereas Trump was able to give examples on messaged basis, on a message by message basis, and on point by point basis. But he has got a problem that the COVID is spreading, the unemployment is spreading, the people have stopped looking at stock market as a barometer of economic reforms or economic progress. So they have started thinking about. Usually, what happens is when the economy is going up or when the stock market is going up, people will think that the economy is getting better and better and better. So this thinking of the economy, the perception is increased by the stock market, even though the economy is decreasing. So when I say like this, it means the economy is decreasing in the sense that the number of jobs that need to come are not coming, the number of the unemployment claims are increasing, and the other one is the unemployment insurance and money that people do who don't have jobs get, that has also gone down. So it's like a triple whammy. And the other one is the number of people who are buying homes have started to decrease. So that is another big tussle for the economy. So because the housing market directly is linked to the banks and the way they can distribute the money and get more money in return. So, all in all, the economy is going down. There needs to be a financial innovation, a financial engineering by the banks to actually come out with a different approach towards lending money, and not just about the residual wealth value or something like that. So, there are trying. JP Morgan is trying to come up with a new way of creating wealth. That is, they are trying to make the number of seats in an aeroplane as a recurring wealth asset. So it's an asset class is wealth, basically money. So they are trying to come out with these asset classes, but I don't know how long it's going to work, because airlines have started feeling the pressure and they are trying to reduce the number of people they hire. Disney is laying off people, airlines is furloughing people. So the situation is getting bad. It is already bad, but the stock market was not looking at that bad stuff. But right now, it doesn't have a choice but to take a look into the existing scenarios and be scary about it. So, all in all, if you look, Biden was able to put the message of the economic weakness that the country is facing, and Trump was not able to sugarcoat anything. So, and people are feeling the pressure, except the stock market. All others are feeling the pressure. They are feeling that their resources have come down. Even in even in financial industry, Goldman Sachs has to lay off so many people. JP Morgan laid off a few people, quite a number of people. So there is the pressure, the downward pressure on the jobs. The downward pressure on the jobs is happening. So as long as people, more and more people lose their jobs and they don't have the income to uh, withstand the immediate crisis, it's going to be very difficult. So right now the situation is the U.S. has able to give, the Congress has passed $2.2 trillion of the package, which gives state governments around $450 billion, the $600 per week for unemployment. It comes down to 2,400 to 3,000 for those who are unemployed. And the other one is about the budget and keeping the government afloat, salaries for the union government and federal government employees and all those. So all these things put together, the Republicans are at $1.65 trillion. So totally around $600 billion or 500 billion, 2.2, right? So 600, $550 billion is what is the difference between the Democrat bill and the Republican bill is. So maybe they will come to a middle path and come to a particular conclusion. So Nancy Pelosi, who is the speaker, and Democrats' face in the present context is going to, yeah, is very optimistic. So we should see some kind of bill passing both the houses. Already passed Congress, so in Senate they may do a little bit changes and comes back to Congress and they pass it. So that bill is now going to be within the short time frame. But will that bill actually make those guys call back their employees? So that is this something which we need to ponder. Of course, Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan will not call back its employees whom it has laid off. The only thing is the airlines and the Disney, maybe they will call back the furloughed. That's why they furloughed it. They didn't remove them. So all in all, it is going to be a very difficult days ahead for people who have not got the employment money. But they are going to get between 400 to $600 anyways. So the lowest number is 400, the highest number is 600. So between that, somewhere the bill will get passed. So that is the optimism I can come out with. And the COVID is not going to be very difficult for Trump to overcome because the doctors are have taken the precautions well in advance. So it's not in advanced stage. It is not. It is in an okay kind of stage. So he's using therapeutic medicines. What is this therapeutic medicines? Therapeutic medicines is basically you are uh, taking antibodies. Antibodies are the blood cells that are taken from previously affected COVID who has overcome the COVID. They take the blood cells from there, isolate the antibodies that are effective towards COVID virus, and then inject it back to the other recipient, say Trump. So what will someone who has already got the COVID and is able to overcome that COVID? They take the blood from there, they separate out the antibodies, and then they inject into um, the host bodies, that is Trump's body. Regeneron is the therapeutic process that is being used. Regeneron is a antibody that is developed. So, all in all, the situation is not that bad with respect to COVID to Trump, but situation is very bad of COVID with respect to general public and the economy. And till now, stock market was able to camouflage or overcome a little bit of the pain, but this pain is not going down any soon, and it's spreading now into the vital economic uh, lifestyle of the US and the world. So this is the basic thing, and Biden is able to come a little bit ahead in Florida polls. So Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, I think, and North Carolina. Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina are four states that may lead Biden victory. So if that happens, then even if one of the state, if one of the state is pro votes pro Biden, then it will be difficult for Trump to become president. But the ballots that are being casted, we don't know, of course, who is being uh, selected. So many of the states have started the ballot voting and the mail-in voting basically. So this is going to be really difficult because Trump was totally against the mail-in vote, and if people start deciding quite early that they want to do a mail-in voting, then even before November 4th, if more people started voting, then the counting will start on November 4th, and during that time those ballots will be counted as well as once the poll booth poll counting has been done. So all in all, it's going to be a tough situation for Trump to become president again, but the same was said around 2016. So it is anybody's game as far as the situation is concerned. But the polls say that Biden is on the lead and he may win. So the polls are say predicting Biden's win. But if things go by past 2016 elections, then Trump can pull something off. So in the context of this, there is a new chief justice being a new justice on the Supreme Court being nominated by the Senate. So the Senate can pass the Supreme Court nominee, and obviously Democrats don't want to, and while Republicans want to pass. So the Ruth Bader Ginsburg was totally a liberal person, and she's amazing in her. Even if you look at her career, she's amazing. She has done so much of great work and great judgments. Now she's being replaced by a completely opposite viewpoint person. So even though she's a female, she's exactly opposite of Ruth Ginsburg. So we'll have to see how the things move. So the other aspect of this Supreme Court nominee is about the polls. If they go back to Supreme Court, then just like it happened on 2000, right? So if the polls go back to Supreme Court, then Trump will stand a chance. That is the calculus here. Of course, everything is up in the air and anything can happen. So keep watching us. The next thing in our table is China, and China has India, China have been in loggerheads for long time, and I think that the situation is not going to become normal anytime soon. So we have to live with China trying to push the envelope. So what is this thing about China that India is very much concerned about? Is is that the conflicting signals that China sends, and that is part of its game all across the world. So someone in the top will say something else, and someone who is supposed to implement what the guy says on the top doesn't implement that. So the India China border issue is going to linger for some time. They are going to push the envelope. They are going to occupy new spaces, and we have to occupy new spaces in the disputed land. And this cat and mouse game will continue. If you don't do that, if you do, say if China comes a little bit and you don't go a little bit further, then what happens is the area that they have occupied, they will put their flags, and they will make it part of their integral territory. This is more like, they are nudging India. They want to show their power to India. and India on the other side is trying to cope up with the changing situations. And one thing is sure, I hope the military leaders in India side look at their troop movements, uh, look at the Chinese troop movements, look at what those guys are doing on the ground, and then assess the response rather than look into what their leader is saying openly or publicly. So October 28th is the time, 26th or 28th is the time around which Xi Jinping is going to address the Chinese parliament, CPC, that's what they call it. So at this time, he has to give a rosy picture, and he will try to coalesce people around him. So that is expected, and he's going to show some kind of you know a treaty or something that he has achieved. So he will try to push things here and there, and after that it will be another 1 year. So we don't know what Xi Jinping is thinking, because he never lets anybody know what actually he will do. He's That's what people say. He's a poker player. He doesn't show up anything, uh, what he's doing. He doesn't even give these inclination that he's going one way or the other. Whereas Narendra Modi is exact opposite. He wears his heart in the sleeve. So what he's thinking, what he's doing, everybody knows. He positions himself very easily on the game board. Everybody in India would know what Modi wants to do, right? At least they have the perception, and they can say, "Hey, Modi is going to do this. Modi is going to do that," kind of thing. But same thing is not with Xi Jinping. Nobody in China also knows what Xi Jinping is doing or wants to do. That is the context in which Xi Jinping puts everybody alerted. So, all in all, China is trying to nudge itself into the world dominating force. So, the Belt Road Initiative, what it is trying to do with respect to India is uh, try to use Nepal and try to use Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka for a very less context, but Pakistan and Nepal in the by giving them the carrots of Belt Road Initiative. So what it has said to Nepal is you can sell your products into China by using the Belt Road that can connect Pakistan, Nepal, China. It is coming over the Indian subcontinent, right? From Indian subcontinent, it is going over the Nepal, and so Nepal has access to the Belt Road. And the problem with the Nepal is that they understand that the government doesn't understand that it is a loan. It's not a business, it's a loan. Whereas the people in Nepal do understand the difference between a loan and a business. What is a business? Business is basically you're giving and taking. So money is going around. Whereas loan is something where someone gives you money and you give them more than what they have given to you. So that is loan. So China has promised $8 billion loan to Nepal, and they have given around 1 billion yuan already for them. So they promise the loan and they give yuan for them. So who is going to trade in yuan? Only Chinese, right? So most of the works will be undertaken by Chinese companies. The same case with Europe also. So the Europe and Australia, when the Belt Road Initiative started, they thought that Europe and Australia will have European countries will have a lot of peace in that particular initiative. And Italy was the first country to jump into that Belt Road Initiative, but still the European countries have not gained much because it's a loan and they're not even participating in that loan process. So how Belt Road Initiative is formed is China gives a loan to someone, and the infrastructure is made, and then they have to pay back that loan. So when the payback is coming, a lot of countries are not able to generate that kind of revenue where they can pay back the money. So what they are doing is in Djibouti, right, African country, China has established its military base. In Sri Lanka, the port is being now used mostly by China. So their expansionism is what is creating a lot of problems to Europe, and they have identified that okay, this is not just a trade issue; it's going to really affect our relationship. So now Germany is against the TikTok. Germany has talked about TikTok, and Huawei has been banned from European Union. And so slowly, they are starting to reduce their dependence on China. On the other hand, the cultural aspects of Europe in China have also been started to coming back. Like there have been a lot of cultural give and take between China and Europe, but now most of them have reduced, partly because of COVID, mostly because of COVID, and partly because of government getting further away. So, where Europe stands for individual freedom, China stands for collective freedom. So, whatever that means. So there is a huge directional change in the thought process of Europeans and Chinese. And till now, the trade was the gluing factor, but now the trade is not taken into consideration. So all in all, China is facing trouble in Europe, it's facing trouble in US, it's facing trouble in Australia, and it is facing trouble with India. So in all areas, China is now boxed in, basically, financially from world and militarily in that LAC. It remains to be seen what Xi Jinping is going to take. He's put China into a very difficult position across the globe. How he comes out of this is something he cannot bully out, because if he tries to show force, then everybody becomes together. Everybody will bind together, and it will create more problem for him. If he leaves out, then everybody will try to push him more. So he can't do a bully, and he can't take a strategic backtracking. So it remains to be seen how the Chinese politicians will go from here. And the last thing is Sushant Singh Rajput's sad demise. So the chairman of AIMS is saying that Sushant Singh, there were no bruises in Sushant Singh's body, and Subramania Swamy has said that we need an official report, not a report by someone who has not inspected the body. So that remains to be seen. But overall, let's find out the context in which everybody is against, right? It is not that okay, Sushant Singh got murdered or did hanged by himself. No, if that was the case, everybody would be so unhappy, but they wouldn't go out in the streets or be so anti-government. The way in which the Maharashtra police have taken the case with um, a lot of loopholes. Every small guy can say, "Why did you take a dead body 25 kilometers away?" Right? Doesn't make sense. The second thing is, why was 60 crores of his money swindled, and how could this happen? When India is already having anti-money laundering law, when you cannot take the money, when someone is ill, they cannot move their so much money from one account to the other account. And when such money is being moved, what were the RBI officials doing? What was the ED officials doing? Why did they not ask relevant questions? People are not, if you're NRA, you can't put money into your own account, right? People, it doesn't happen. They don't even allow, the tellers don't allow. So someone from way top has allowed this transaction to happen, and we don't know who that guy is. Why is this hindrance happening? Why can't the government just be normal and give whatever information it has? So there is a lot of things, and the other thing that has came out is drugs. Only after the people started questioning lot did NCB started coming out with these things. I am 100% sure that the drugs and the money laundering are the reasons why Bollywood is losing a lot of money, and a lot of people are not able to get into that zone of movie making or participating as a movie protagonist or hero, right? So whether the hero and the heroines are the main lead roles of a movie, and we are not seeing a heavy competition there. We are only seeing a lot of people who know already few people in Bollywood to be heroes and heroines, and that has to go. And I think the money laundering and the drugs are preventing that from happening. So if Sushant Singh is actually, if Sushant Singh did suicide, then many of us will be unhappy, but we will take things as they are, let the chips fall where they are. But hanky panky stuff where the processes have not been followed cannot be a simple thing. We want the process to be followed. We want the administration to give us why they have done what they have done. Why the body was moved 25 kilometers away. Why the money was moved from the account of Sushant Singh. Why are the drugs so prevalent in the movie industry? Why is Sushant Singh able to come up with so many what do you call mobile SIM cards? How could anyone get so many SIM cards? If Sushant Singh himself got so many SIM cards, how many SIM cards does Salman Khan have? How many SIM cards does Amir Khan have? Or Akshay Kapoor or Akshay Khanna, whoever it is, right? How many of Anil Kapoor, right? Anil Kapoor even was doing fundraising for Imran Khan. How many SIM cards does these guys have? Where is the tracking? What tracking measures are you using? These are the questions that are very important for India. Apart from people dying, there is a systemic failures that have happened. We want to know why they have happened and how you're going to prevent them from happening. Okay, till that time, we are going to fight. The fight is going to continue. At least I am going to continue talking about Sushant Singh. Thank you. Look forward to meet you next week.